Take Me Out to the Hollow Suite. It's Only a Paper Moon. And What You Leave Behind. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are doing a review of Deep Space Nine Season 7. This is the Season 7 review special. How are you today, Cirroc?
I'm doing good. I'm having a good day.
It's a beautiful overcast day in Los Angeles, and it's kind of refreshing, I think.
Yes, it's nice. I think this morning it was a little bit wet on the ground, so I think it rained or something last night where I'm at. And I like it when it's cool and still sunny.
Yeah,
you seem sunny but overcast.
You seem like the kind of guy that likes the sunny days. You like the warm days, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes, but it depends. Because when I was young, I remember walking to school on chilly days and just I liking to bulk up and have an extra jacket on and stuff.
Do you remember walking on the crunchy grass where in the morning when you walk to school and the grass is crunchy from the ice? That was cool.
Oh no, I remember those crunchy leaves that would be piled up and all, crunching up on top of those on your way.
Yeah,
like popping. It was like popping bubble wrap. It had that same.
Totally.
It hit that same nerve.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So they're thinking, they're like, wait, I could have sworn I heard them say season 7. Yeah, this is our season 7 Deep Space Nine review special. We hope you enjoy it. We're just going to, go back and reminisce about season 7 and how glorious or inglorious it was. It was glorious. We will start off with episode 1. Yeah. Actually, it was kind of a 3-part thing. Remember the first 3 episodes where they introduce Ezri Dax. We have Image in the sand. At the end of the episode, she shows up and says, "Don't you remember me? It's me, Dax." And then we had Shadows and Symbols where you guys are walking through the desert. You and Ben Sisko and Joseph Sisko and Ezri Dax. And then the third one was After Image. You remember, how well do you remember those first 3 episodes in that little block there?
I remember it well because of the fact that Ezri was introduced in as a character, so she really takes the majority of my memory as far as that 3-episode arc. Also remember us being at Sisko's, so seeing Brock Peters and being at Sisko's in her Creole kitchen was another thing that sticks out in my memory. I called it the gumbo in the jungle. But I felt like she really ate up the screen when Nicole came in. She did a fantastic job of fitting in right away and playing a character that was curious and vulnerable, but yet confident in certain situations and endearing herself to the other characters pretty quickly.
Yeah, for me, the iconic scene was, there are 2. One was when Ezri Dax first walks in. She says, "Don't you recognize me? It's me, Dax." And she just like suddenly lights up the episode in the last scene of the episode. Suddenly, like, the episode just feels lighter and more beautiful. And she has this great smile and the great eyes. And it's hard for somebody to have one line in an episode, but for to be so memorable and so iconic. But it really was for me. And then the other one was just the 4 of you walking through the sand, and remembering you telling us the stories of like, dude, it was August and we were in the desert and we were wearing robes. And I'm watching poor Captain Sisko's hand in the sand and coming out with all the sand stuck to his arm. And I'm thinking that's because that's a sweaty arm, poor guy. It's 100 degrees out there or more.
Yeah. But those shots were kind of iconic. It was great to watch and that's part of the beginning of this journey too. It was a closure of the beginning of the closure of what Sisko has had to reveal, and what was being revealed to him as far as the prophets and his vision starting to become more profound. And I think that's what makes the beginning of the 7 seasons, so good.
Yeah.
Is that it just started you on this journey of you got to know the characters are fully set in stone as far as at this point, so we already know who they are. But it's now about this journey, about where they're going, and a lot of closure to uh, uh, relationships and conflicts, and journeys starting to come full to a circle. So I really enjoyed this first 3 episode arc, which was directed by Les Landau. I think he did the first.
Yeah,
I know he did Image in the
hyped.
Sand and Afterimage. Yeah.
It got me hyped. When we were starting the 7th season, I remember being sad, like, this is it. This is the final season. What a bummer. I'm going to miss it. But then watching those first 3 episodes kind of got me hyped for it. Like, oh, this is going to be great. But then we go straight from that into the gem that is Take Me Out to the Holosuite. And I've always remembered it as a fun episode. But man, this last time watching it was just even more fun. It was just so happy. It was just like the happiest and most enjoyable and most fun episode in all of Deep Space Nine. The only other episode that makes me that happy, or second to it, is Explorers, the one with just like dad and son Sisko on that ship. I love that one. But yeah, remember Take Me Out to the Holosuite. And Max Grodenchik joined us for that review, which was freaking amazing. By the way, I'd be remiss if I don't mention that Nikki DeBoer did join us to review episode 2, I believe it was. So she was super fun. Mm-hmm. Episodes 2 and 3, Nikki DeBoer joined us to talk about being Esri Dax. But this third one, we had Max and Melissa, or 4th one.
Yeah, I mean, and he's hilarious in this episode, as he is in this entire 7th season. Actually, he just kills it. But this is one of the fun episodes. There's just something about this episode as far as being on location and playing baseball. It felt like we were all just letting loose, and it was like a party. It was the party on screen for the characters in the show. And I remember the energy just being so playful. Lunchtime, people are throwing balls around, hitting homers and stuff, and it was just fun to watch. That everybody had at this point just grown into friends, and we were like kids playing out there. It was like a little kick the can type moment for us.
Yeah. And it was just so cool having Max Grodenchik join us all the way from Austria, by the way. That was the first time we've ever had him on our show, and we absolutely loved it. That's one of the most memorable reviews for me personally that we've ever had. By the way, I'm wearing an Abyssinian Kiosk awesome shirt. It's called the Sisko Kid. Cirroc's sister makes that, and we're very happy to have been able to wear her wares during the course of this show. Episode 5, this really shows how the diversity of this show, as in like how varied the episodes were. You have those first 3, right, that are kind of dark, kind of heavy. Then you have Take Me Out to the Holosuite, and then it goes over to Chrysalis, I should say. And this was the one, remember, with those 4 genetically engineered people that were super smart. And then there's the lady that's like in a catatonic state. And then Bashir helps her get out of it so she could sing songs, or they're like doing the song singing scene and all that, which was, by the way, they were singing the notes to the Deep Space Nine theme song, which was really cool.
Oh, yeah. I remember these group of people that they brought in a couple of times. This was like their 2nd episode.
Yeah,
these genius kids.
Kids.
Not my favorite, the mutant genetic class, but they were trying to make a point about these enhanced human beings that have this ability, and that's basically who Bashir kind of his background is more like. So it's giving backstory to Bashir. It's kind of saying, the tribe that he belongs to or the group that he identifies with. Everybody else has kind of a backstory of identity, and Bashir needed something like that as far as what to compare him to. But I think the people that they brought are not nearly as dynamic as Bashir, and if they are in the same category or class of kind of intelligence, of augmented intelligence that he is, I feel like he's the best version of the representation of that.
Well, you had the one guy where, he did a backflip. That was kind of cool, or a front flip, whatever it was. Then you had the old guy who gave us the iconic line, "That's a stupid question." And then you had the catatonic lady. And then you had the poor lady who her genetically engineered thing was just that she was hypersexual. Like that was the extent. She was just really sexual.
Horny all the time. Yeah.
So who genetically engineered that? I'd like to know. Probably a Ferengi. But speaking of Ferengi, the next episode 6, was called Treachery, Faith, and the Great River. This says, Avorta offers Odo valuable information on the Dominion in exchange for asylum. Meanwhile, Nog tries his Ferengi knowledge as he wheels and deals for a valuable piece of equipment for Chief O'Brien. Remember, this was kind of like Self-Sealing Stem Bolts Part 2, but it was just the Nog show, and it would have been so cool if it was Jake and Nog doing this, but obviously it was kind of a Starfleet situation, so it had to be just Nog.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that stands out in this episode is Nog actually uses his Ferengi intuition, instinct, and cultural values, but not in the same way, but for the benefit of Starfleet and procuring what Chief O'Brien needed. And I remember the moment when he tells Chief, like, you got to trust me and let me do it my way, and there was a bunch of fuss caused and people were missing things. I think I think he took some of the Klingons' wine. Didn't he take some of somebody's wine? Was missing some Klingon wine or something. But it all ended up falling into place at the end, and everybody got what they wanted. Basically, the Great River providing, and the philosophy of the Ferengi way proving to work once again.
Mm-hmm. Now, another great episode. We were, by the way, Malissa Longo joined us for episodes 5 and 6, as well as 4 with Max, which was Taken Out to the Holosuite. But for episode 7, which was Once More Unto the Breach, our good friend and legendary Klingon, J.G. Hertzler, a.k.a. General Martok, a.k.a. Chancellor Martok, joined us. And it is never a dull moment when J.G. joins us.
No, not at all. He's quite a character, as everybody knows out there, and he's always been very graceful with us, and we are grateful to him for his participation in the show and just sharing his presence with us. He's so good at what he does. He's definitely a showman, and being a Klingon is perfectly suited for who JG is as a person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was really cool having JG. I mean, we figured this is such a big Klingon heavy episode. Kor is returning, wanting to die like a Klingon warrior. And so what better Klingon to have for a Klingon episode? And JG, if I remember correctly, said that this was one of the best scripts he'd ever read, or maybe the best one he'd ever read. I feel like you may have even said this was the best Klingon episode you'd ever seen. It was basically an all Klingon episode, and there was so much depth. Usually we just see the Klingons, they're fighters, or they're brutes, or they're drunks, but we rarely get to see the ins and outs of all of it, and all the different characters, and we got to see their whole ship and their daily life. It's really a fun episode, and really probably the best homage to Klingons we'd ever seen.
I would agree.
Yeah, the next one was episode 8, The Siege of AR-558. And we were joined by Mr. Ira Stephen Bear, showrunner of Deep Space Nine, for this episode. This was the one. Oh, this was just so good. I was going to say this was the one where Nog loses his leg, but it's also the one where during the battle, there's like that beautiful music playing in the background, and it's like so iconic and great directing. There's just so much in that episode, and Quark is there.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the big Nog losing his leg moment.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what stands out the most.
Yep. It was just beautiful. And then it was beautifully written. It was like those guys, the Federation guys, had been there for like 3 months or 6 months or whatever it was. Half their people were dead. They were all sore. They were all tired. They were all frayed, edged. And it really shows, Ira really showed us like that it's not all glorious in war. Sometimes it's just filth and stress and hating people. And the one guy said like he even kind of like felt bad and missed this guy that he totally hated and annoyed the hell out of him that would never shut up or whatever, which was beautiful.
Yeah, I wrote down a speech from that episode that I thought was great when he was talking about humans being wonderful, friendly people as long as their bellies are full.
Yeah,
and their hollow suits are working,
And we get hangry.
But take away their creature comforts, deprive them of food, sleep, sonic showers, and put their lives in jeopardy over an extended period of time, and the same friendly, intelligent, wonderful people will become as nasty and as violent as the most bloodthirsty Klingon. I thought that was just great writing, and I wrote that. That was one of the lines that stood out to me in this episode. That was just one of those truths that are hammered away in Deep Space Nine when they always take these kinds of Shakespearean moments to hammer away certain points in episodes.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that the truth?
And I thought this was one special one as well. Great writing, Ira.
So episode 9 was Covenant. And this was the one where Kira gets kidnapped and taken to Empok Nor, which was like the second Deep Space Nine. And she finds Gul Dukat is basically like the David Koresh or what. He's like a cult leader guy. And it's kind of weird, kind of fun, kind of interesting. I feel like even these episodes that kind of have lower IMDb scores, they still always end up being better than I expect. And I still always end up enjoying them and getting something out of it.
Yeah, what I got out of this, and this was for me the kind of existence of this Pa Wraith cult and all of that stuff. So they were really going heavy on the Pa Wraiths now. This was like them hinting at, okay, the Pa Wraiths are going to be very relevant in this season, and here comes an introduction episode into it. So I think that was really one of the main purposes of this.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that. That's kind of like for a little bit of foreshadowing that this is going to be a big deal later on in the season. I hadn't thought of that. Next was, is this the one? Yes, this is. Oh wait, no, wait. This okay. I went skipped ahead. It's only a Paper 10. Moon, and Malissa Longo joined us for this one, and this is for a lot of people their favorite and best Star Trek episode ever. It's certainly Aaron Eisenberg's crowning achievement, and we're basically out of great things to say about it because literally every great thing you could say about it is what we feel about this episode and Aaron and his performance.
Yeah, this is Aaron's visitor episode. This is this is his moment, and this is the moment that a lot of people can relate to because of whatever experiences they've had in life, as far as loss or personal anguish and suffering. So I think one of the things that I really, in reflection, besides the greatness of Aaron's performance in this, and me forgiving him for pushing me in the middle of that bar.
I was thinking about that. Rude.
But besides that, I want to say that I think James Darren and his performance in this episode, in my memory, was so impactful, and he's such the right person to have carried off the kind of performance that was required opposite of Nog and
Yeah.
what his
Nobody else
storyline
could
was.
have done that. Nobody
I
else.
think
I agree.
I think he was perfectly suited for that.
And it's funny. I was thinking the same thing, which was, I remember, Aaron Eisberg. I remember Nog. I remember all of that. But what I realized this most recent time was James Darren too. James Darren and as Vic Fontaine really legitimized his presence on the show. He really showed that he was a necessary piece in this show, and it was beautifully performed.
Yes, and also the idea of this hologram being so instrumental in so many people's lives, like Kira and Odo, like Quark. I just feel like just the fact that this hologram almost as human as everybody else in this show, and sometimes even more so as far as how empathetic he is with other characters and what they're going through.
Right. So the next episode we had, this was also a great one because it was Prodigal Daughter, and a lot of people are saying, well, what was so great about that episode? It was kind of a little, it was a Dax episode. What's the big deal? First of all, it was great to see, Dax's backstory. Everybody else had 6.5 seasons to get their backstory, except for Worf. But she got hers, and we got the triumphant return of Mr. Robert Hewitt Wolf to the show. So it was really cool to see him again.
Absolutely. We got a lot of backstory in this episode. And Robert's been so amazing too, as far as giving us so much insight and giving us, walking us down memory lane and letting us know what was going on behind the scenes.
Wait, no, I'm so sorry. No, that's 2 episodes from now. Everybody's like, wait, Robert Hewitt? No. I got confused because he's written for a show called Prodigal Son. And so I got that mixed up. There's Prodigal Daughter. He's 2 episodes from now. So sorry. This one, actually, Nikki DeBoer joined us for this. All the wonderful things we have to say about Robert, we will talk about them. But right now, Nikki DeBoer was in this episode, Prodigal Daughter. Obviously, why would I think anything else? But yeah, she was the perfect guest for this one.
Yeah, this is the one with Bill B. It was
right.
Orion Syndicate. Yeah,
that's right. And it was kind of herky jerky. And we're like, it's cool that they got like this little tie-in and throwback, but like, how does it all work out?
Yeah. This was one of those things where O'Brien's chasing down Bilby. So
what we're trying to say is it was great to see Nikki back. It was great to see Nikki again on our show.
And you know what? This episode was written by 2 people that we've always wanted to have on the show.
It David Weddle and Bradley Thompson?
Yeah.
We got to have those guys on our show.
Yeah. So one of these days we'll get them on, but this is one of their episodes. Shout out to Weddle and Thompson.
Yeah, one of these days we've got to write out all of the episodes that they wrote and then get like a top 5 David Weddle and Bradley Thompson episode.
Exactly.
That'd be cool. We're going to take a very quick break right now, and then we're going to jump back into the next 14 episodes, and we'll be right back. We will talk about Robert Hewitt Wolf on The Seventh Rule.